Hi.
Hi.
So, what the heck is a Hrrrl Scout? In short, we're a social club for feminist malcontents and cool dogs based in Fairbanks, Alaska. I'm Brene.
It's Brene.
Let's see what to tell you about me. I work at the school district. I graduated 2 years ago from UAF. I've got a degree in history. UAF? I'm from Tucson. I've got a dog. And this is Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I work with the Breadline, which is an anti-hunger organization here in Fairbanks, Alaska. I dropped out of UAF, and I have a dog also. Life's pretty good.
So the longer story is that we started Hrrrl Scouts a little bit over a year ago, back in February 2017, as a way for us to channel our feelings of political and social rage and to mitigate feelings of impotence and also to get to do cool art and activism and hang out with each other.
Love it.
And our other buds. As a club, we try to promote intersectionality and equity through doing activism, art, community building. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. We get to rabble-rouse and eat a lot of brunch.
Yes, we brunch hard. Things we do, number of things. We have a book club that we do maybe 4 times a year, which focuses on works that are by women of color and their lived experiences. This includes books by Angela Davis and Michelle Alexander and Roxanne Dunbar-Ortez, Chimamanda Adichie, a lot of other ones. It's great. We also have done an intersectional brunch, as we called it. This particular one was Trans 201, wherein a local trans rights activist spoke about her experiences as a trans woman in real plain terms. It was awesome. 2 thumbs up. We've also done a number of supportive actions for local nonprofits around Fairbanks, including Planned Parenthood's Votes Northwest and Hawaii. Those are separate. The Fairbanks Climate and Action Coalition. We love you, babies. Fairbanks Ladies of Wrestling, and Fairbanks Native Movement. It's fantastic. We've also made a bunch of zines. We do art. We make stickers and all kinds of things. Our zines tend to focus on intersectional feminism and the histories of like feminist, queer, and labor histories is what we've really focused on so far. Also a bunch of sassy art and whatnot. We also do some rabble-rousing around town. The picture you can see here behind us was last year's May Day event, right?
International Women's Day pop-up.
International Women's Day pop-up. That was in March, not May Day. Psh, ha! That's right. Yeah, so lots of brunch and general rabble-rousing.
All right, so what the heck is intersectionality?
It's a good question.
Thank you. It's the name of a feminist sociological theory. It was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw.
Ooh.
This is Kimberly Crenshaw.
Kimberly Crenshaw.
In 1989. Intersectionality, in Crenshaw's word, is a way of understanding the relationships among multiple dimensions and modalities of social relationships in subject formation. Which, like so very many academic theories, is something of a mouthful.
A little bit.
However, while the word intersectionality is relatively new, the concept is not. It developed as a strong critique of the 1970s second wave feminism. It's a movement that did a lot of progressive good, but it also honed a homogenized and whitewashed narrative that largely ignored the histories and contributions of many women of color, working class women, and LGBT women. This apparent lack of intersectionality, well before intersectionality was a phrase.
A phase.
A phrase. Is frequently cited as the downfall of second wave feminism. During this time, Audre Lorde, intellectual babe, who's a noted feminist, author, and civil rights champion, perhaps better than anyone else, she articulated the experience of overlapping oppressions. Lorde spoke to how all forms of oppression are interrelated and said that we cannot talk about feminism without acknowledging the multifaceted nature of personal identity. So she's great.
She's fantastic. 10/10 recommend for a non-academic source of what intersectionality means on the ground. So in going over the annotated bibliography that this class has produced, it seems real clear that y'all know a hawk from a handsaw in terms of intersectional ideals. But just to make sure that we're all using the same that we're all using intersectionality as the same understanding that within groups of people who share a common identity, there are, whether it's gender, sexuality, or class, or race, or religion, or any of the many defining aspects of human identity, that there are also intra-group differences. So, which is to say that every individual human experiences social structure differently because the intersection of their identities reflects an intersection of overlapping this is really hard to say, of overlapping impressions. So, thank you. So understanding intersectionality is not unlike understanding C. Wright Mills, his sociological imagination. Yes.
Wow, here he is.
Behold, C. Wright Mills, of which I think his definition was the awareness of the relationship between personal experience and a wider society. So to use the sociological imagination is to place oneself outside of one's own life and experiences, to view actions or life from a third-party perspective. Mills believed that the power of the sociological imagination to connect, quote, personal troubles to public issues. And the same is true for intersectional feminism. So,
how does intersectionality tie into climate change?
That's a good question.
I'm glad you asked.
Oh.
Well, we're certainly not the experts on climate change.
No.
Believe it or not.
We're not.
But we do trust the experts and we trust the evidence because that's how science works. So, however, it is our opinion that poverty and class issues are a dominant factor in how resilient any population is to hardship. So obviously, increasing and rapid climate change will be bad on a global level, but folks already pressed for resources will feel those effects magnitudes more than their wealthier counterparts. Speaking in the most general terms of class,
The broadest.
Women and many folks that are LGBTQ plus are more likely to be economically disadvantaged than men.
Mm-hmm.
This points to the negative effects of climate change, like scarcity of resources, injuries, displacement, etc., being differentiated along gender lines because gender disparity and poverty is rooted in inequalities and access to economic resources. Despite many global advances towards equality, a lack of economic and social mobility prevents women and people on the LGBT plus communities in many nations from having equal status in society and therefore protections afforded by stable wealth.
Mm-hmm. Because while both men and women obviously suffer from poverty, gender discrimination means that women and queer folks generally have far fewer resources to cope with a crisis, be it a natural disaster, a drought, or rising sea levels, or any other of the negative impacts of global climate change. So in conclusion, it is the Hrrrl Scouts' belief that by viewing the effects of climate change through a sociological imagination lens or through intersectional feminism, we're better able as a whole to understand the problem and how it's going to affect the most vulnerable people on our planet already. Hrrrl Scouts.
Hrrrl Scouts.